impressive. Now we found ourselves a pretty bird called a European roller. It's called a European roller because that's where it spends half of its year, and it travels all the way down the whole of Africa to come to us to enjoy our summer, where there's a whole bunch of insects around. And we actually managed to just yet catch a small insect. I think it was a grasshopper. It was doing something similar to what it's doing now. It was sitting up on a dead branch like this, high up off the ground, looking and scanning for any prey below, and then it swooped down, caught something out the grass, and flew up to this branch where we see it sitting now, and gobbled it up very quickly. And they do have a cousin here, the lilac-breasted roller, who are probably a little bit more pretty than them, but even this one you can see has got a... I always find it amazing how far some of the smaller birds like this one can migrate. It's not always the big storks with massive wingspans that can make it a long way when migrating, but you do get quite a few small, not only birds, but sometimes even butterflies migrate quite large distances. And up in the Mara, where Jamie and Ralph are taking you around, there's the incredible wildebeest and zebra migration, a few Thompson's gazelle as well, and really looking forward to the next few months when those migrating herds will make it back into the Mara, and the Safari Life crew up there will be bound to get a lot of great action and entertainment from the hundreds and thousands of animals. So we're working in an area where we were on foot this morning, searching for a leopardess and a little cub. We last had her tracks to the left of us, and I'm just hoping that we get a little bit of luck and she pops out onto one of these roads. The bush is very, very thick in this area, so we're going to need a lot of luck in order to be able to find her and her little cub. But the only way we've got a small chance is by driving around this area, and hopefully we'll get lucky. Whoop, sorry Seb. Alright, well, we're going to continue searching for this leopard. Hopefully we'll get lucky and send you back to Ralph, who's searching along the banks of the Mara River.
Thanks, Scott. And yes, everyone, we've returned to where the hippos were seemingly having a very good time, doing a little bit of wrestling and playing in the water. They look quite happy in the nice cool waters of the Mara River. When everybody else is struggling because it's so hot, well, the hippos are quite happy in the water. Listen there. They're calling. So that's the noise that hippos make. See if you can do it, kiddies. Come on. Look how they're playing. Now, Allenton, you want to know how big is a hippo compared to an elephant? Well, a hippo is more the size of a white rhino. So you don't always get to see a hippo standing next to an elephant, but just think of a white rhino standing next to an elephant. Maybe you've seen that, or how big a white rhino is. But if I have to try and compare or tell you how big they are, we're talking at about, it's nearly 5,000 pounds. So that's probably about as big as a Ford F-250 in weight, a pickup. So the car, the Ford F-250, if you know what that looks like, it's quite a big pickup. It's about that size, or that weight. It's not as big as that in the size, but it's about as heavy as that. So a hippo can be very heavy. They've got very big fat stomachs, but that's mostly due to the gas that they have in there, and also a little bit of fatness. It does help them for the different temperatures that they live in. but they do have very big fat bellies, and they can hold their breath in the water for about 6 or 7 minutes at the most, but normally it's around a minute or two and they come up. And that's the adults. But there's all sorts going on here, and they seem to be quite happy. Now, Nadia, you want to know if I've ever seen an animal eat another animal? Well, Nadia, I've seen it quite a few times because I've been here in Africa for quite a long time, and I've been watching lions and leopards and cheetah and crocodiles and all of these carnivorous predators that move around here. And it wasn't long ago that we watched some cheetah. First they ate a small antelope, and then they ate a baby antelope as well. So that is the way that cheetah survive, by eating meat, and that means that they do have to kill the animal before they eat it, unfortunately for the little animal. But that's the way that lions and leopards and hyena and crocodiles and jackals survive. They do need to kill animals sometimes, and they need to eat the meat. So that's the way it works in the wild. But hippos don't need to kill any animals. The only reason they would kill any animals is just to protect their young ones or the babies, and also fighting between each other. Because what do hippos eat? They eat grass. So they come out at night after they've been spending the whole day in the river, and they go and find lovely grass. Now, speaking of animals that eat grass and lovely vegetation, let's head you on down south to South Africa to know, well, who's watching the biggest land mammal.
Hello, hello. We were busy tracking a leopard, very fresh leopard tracks, and we saw from the top of the hill just behind us this beautiful scene of elephants swimming. And you know how much we love elephants, and you know how much we love elephants swimming. So we are going to come and have a look at them, take a break from our leopard tracking for now. Oh, fabulous. I'm in love. We're here at Chitwa Dam in front of Chitwa Lodge. Dobby, you must just let me know when you are happy. Okay. And so you will see some buildings in the background from time to time. And it's a nice warm day, and it looks like a bunch of males in the water all together. Roughhousing. That one's standing on another one at the moment, the one on the left-hand side. He's basically drowning him. Showing a little dominant submissive behavior there. Then another one came and pushed him off. The hippos are laughing at them. What a gorgeous afternoon. Molly, very good question. You would like to know, Molly, why do elephants have such big ears? Molly, that's how they take the heat out of their body and or keep the heat in. When they have big ears like that, there's lots of veins behind them, and they lose about 82% of the heat from their body out of the ears when they flap them. And then when they're cold, they keep them flat against the head, and that allows the heat to stay in. Now, I actually think I want to try just a little bit of a different angle just around the corner here, because I think what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to get some hippos in the shot with us. This dam is very full of lots of different things to see at the moment. I'm also checking for our little friend Hosanna, who's a little male leopard, and he loves this area. He especially likes to be sneaky behind the dam wall. I believe the question was, how fast can an elephant run? But I'm so sorry, I didn't hear who it came from. Maybe Julie, if I pick that up. Sorry, my comms are a little bit funny. Now they can do about Alright everyone, sorry about that. I think my comms were a little bit off. We still have our amazing swimming elephants who are just busy getting out of the water. But I don't think that they're quite done yet. All these young males. It's a very warm day and I think they're having too much fun. The hippos are not very impressed with anything that's going on right now. All right, everyone there at Red Bank Elementary and Alton Elementary, I do hope you enjoyed the show. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties, but what a way to leave us swimming playing elephants and swimming playing hippos. So I hope you all have a good day, and maybe we'll see you again sometime soon. Welcome everyone, welcome to this very, very special unscheduled broadcast. I am coming to you live from South Africa, from Chitwa Dam. My name is Noelle van Moden, and on camera I've got Davi. How's it, Davi? And we are busy here with some swimming male elephants inside of the dam on this very warm day. Now don't forget, because we are live and interactive, from whatever platform you're watching, you can send us through questions, and they will come through to the directors, and the directors will put them in my ear. And then I can answer you. It's the whole fun part about this. You are with me on safari right now from wherever in the world you're currently sitting. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're at home. Now these elephants are swimming for a couple of reasons. One, as I said before, it's very warm, and then the other reason is because they just really enjoy it. And these 4 male elephants are also doing a little bit of dominant submissive behavior. So just trying to work out who's who in the zoo and who's bigger than who in the zoo. Now they're doing this right next to a couple of pods of hippos, and these hippos are not overly thrilled at the antics of these elephants. They're just over there to the right-hand side, and every now and then the hippos ignore them, like they're doing a little bit now, and then they'll turn around and splash and splatter dung everywhere and put up a good show of saying, "Go away, elephants, go away," and the elephants, of course, ignore them completely and carry on doing exactly what they're doing. Now, can we hear the swimming of the elephants? The water splashing? It seems as if you all can hear it indeed. Now where they are right now, they can stand, you can see that, and where they were a little bit earlier was much deeper, and they were rolling around and pushing each other down in the water. This reminds me quite a bit of when I was a kid. We used to go to the beach, all of us from the neighborhood would go to the beach, to the lake, and swim around, and the older kids would always wrestle in the water and throw each other. This is pretty much what's happening here. Lots of older teenagers to younger 20-year-old elephants pushing each other around. Charles, very interesting question. You're wondering how much water do elephants drink in a day? Well, Charles, on a very hot day, they're probably going to do upwards of 100 liters, so they can fit about 10 liters of water inside their trunk, a big male elephant at one time. Smaller elephants will be a smaller amount, and they'll come to the water and they might suck up anywhere from 5 to 10 times, and they'll do that on a hot day 2 or 3. Welcome back. Sorry about the gremlins. Not quite sure what they're up to today, but our Ellies are still swimming and you're back with us now. So welcome to everyone, and then to anyone that was watching the unscheduled broadcast, if you managed to then find us over on the YouTube, hello, welcome back. We're here twice a day. All right, everybody, swimming with elephants. I actually would like to move a little bit farther forward just because they've moved a bit, and I want to just get a little bit closer to the action. And then I've just spotted one of our huge crocodiles, so I want to get a little bit of a different angle. Give me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, or an elephant's tail we should say rather. And the sun has come out, the clouds have gone away, so the temperature's just increased by about, feels like. Here we go, this is wonderful. Listen to that. Hello, James Richard. And yes, James, you are correct. Swimming ellies does make for a good feel-good sighting. Now, I'm just going to have Davi pan away a little bit from the ellies. I just want to show you the huge croc that's out on the bank at our sort of 2 o'clock, right on that little island far in the distance there in front of Chitwa Lodge. Huge crocodile, that big female, sunning herself, mouth open, using her gular flap to regulate her temperature. For those crocodile lovers out there, then don't worry, we'll get right back to our elephants, who now that I've moved have decided to go back the other way, but that's okay. Davi's on a little swivel seat at the back, so he's fine. He's going to keep panning around as much as we possibly need. Now, the other vehicle that I was busy tracking leopard with is also here with us. So I'm assuming that the tracks that we had to leave are heading in this general direction, down towards the dam, or possibly the inflow, or possibly Hassana's hunt. Now, it was a female that we were tracking, and so it could be Kachava, but we'll have to wait and see until we get a little bit more information. Oh, that breeze is coming through again nicely. For any of you that were watching this morning, this is the spot that we were filming from the opposite side where the little ones were having trouble getting out of the water. These males will have no problem getting out, and they are going to keep roughhousing and playing around in this beautiful dam. And while they are doing that, let's take a bit of a break from them and head on over to Scotty D, who's having some fun with our drone.
We certainly are. You can see it hovering just ahead of us, and we're about to send it up into the skies and see what we can see. Seb's just swiveling it around. Hello everyone, off you go, have fun. What a cool machine. There's a bit of a tree above Seb there, so he had to do test Seb's skills and drive along and see how well he can track us, as well as just do his bits as he flies about. Wonderful stuff. It's a new addition to the Safari Live toy box, but it's one that I don't use that much, so really enjoy having it out and on the vehicles again, so we can see how it operates and just learn how to incorporate it better into the safaris. Okay, well, somebody says it sounds like a lawnmower. It sounds, yeah, just like a lawnmower. And that's not James, whoever that could be. It must be related to Not Barbara, by the Not family. Very good. Now, we haven't had any luck as we've been searching for leopards, so we thought it would be a good time to just send up the drone while it's still quite hot. And like I said, let Seb practice his skills. He's a fairly newly qualified drone pilot. He went down to Durban, one of the cities on the east coast of South Africa, and did a drone pilot's course there, so he's official. He's an official drone pilot. And you'll be happy to know that even though we can't find any leopards here down in South Africa, Ralph up in the Mara has had some luck with one of the other big cats. Why don't you go and see which one it is?
Thank you. Yes, well, we've just come back to these female lions that were lying in the shade a little bit a while ago, but it seems they're even too lazy to move off into the shade. And a very enjoyable sleep, it seems. We did have a look and see if we could possibly see those musketeers, but they're really lying up in the thickets, and pretty much like this, but at least these females are a little bit out in the open and we can actually see them. So I wasn't going to sit and wait just with a tuft of hair coming out of the back of a bush. We thought that we'd come over here and sit with these females and see if they give us any joy, maybe by rolling over or flicking their tails or even lifting and looking maybe towards us or over the plains. Starting to cool down a little bit now, so there's a little bit of potential that they might wake up and do a bit of stretching, yawning, maybe even move on over towards the males. I'm not holding my breath because they do have a little bit in the belly, it seems. They're not rotund, they're not massively fat from gorging themselves, but it does seem like they have had something to eat quite recently. So my feeling is that they're not going to be getting up anytime soon. It's cooling down, but it is still quite warm. Even though they're lying in the sun, they haven't moved off into the shade. The potential of these lions doing something. Vincent, thanks for your comment and saying that you love when the lions lie on their back with their feet up. There is something very particular about how well lions relax and lie around. It has to be said that they're probably one of the best at it out there, and when they are lying on their backs, it always looks wonderful and so relaxed. Well, it seems not much is going to happen here, so I might move on shortly. And while we do that, I want to send you back down on south to Noel with swimming elephants.
We have some swimming, not so swimming elephants. They're getting in and out. They're deciding to take a little bit of a rest break and have a snack. These older teenagers. They've used up a lot of their energy. So we have 3 just in front of us here, and then we have one who's just off to our side this way, who looks a little bit older than the other 2, who's busy throwing water on himself after he's been swimming. I really don't know what he's on about. And then just in front of us again, excuse my hat, we've got this little boy who's coming out of the water, and he's basically copying these 2, and then the third one that's behind us, and also showing off to how big he is. Tucker, who's 5 years old, you're wondering if elephants can see underwater like hippos can. Tucker, we were actually chatting about this morning. I was saying I don't quite know. And I'm glad you asked this, because when we were busy watching them just now, I watched a couple of times where the elephants came out of the water and then opened their eyes, and a couple times where they were splashing, going down, and keeping their eyes open. So elephants have eyesight, Tucker, that's very similar to humans, and we can see underwater, but it sometimes hurts our eyes to look with our eyes open, so I think it's very similar for them. I think anything that sort of happens with our eyes is going to be that. So we can see under the lake, but not very well and not for very long. Now everybody's having a snack. Now I have a feeling that during snack time they're going to get a little bit cheeky again, and then get back in. Bobby, you were wondering if elephants use a lot of energy in the water. Bobby, I think yes, but I don't think they use as much as if they were wrestling when it's hot outside. And also because they're mammals and they're covered with a fat layer. They are going to be buoyant inside the water, so it's not as much of a hassle for them to play the way that they were playing inside of there. Again, very similar to humans. I mean, my brothers and I used to roughhouse and throw each other around in the water for hours and hours and hours, from when we were little kids up through being teenagers. I mean, even now in my 30s, if I see my brothers at the lake, they're still going to try and drown me. And again, for hours and hours and hours. And it never feels like it's as much effort as it would be on solid ground, because gravity is not the same in the water, because that buoyancy. They're going to come right past the car. Can we hear them picking up the grass? Hear them breathing a little bit. Oh, how fantastic. All right, we're going to stick with these bowls a little bit longer. But my dear friend Herbie is on bushwalk, and he hasn't had a chance to say hello yet, as far as I know. So let's go on over to him so that he can tell you about all the amazing things he knows about the flora and fauna of the Sabi Sands.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Herbert. With me is my friend James Henry on the camera. Over here, we've came across one of the trees, the shambok pod. As a naughty boys, monkey pod. As a naughty boys, we used to visit the monkey pod thickets to get the pods, which are edible. There's lots of animals that will compete for the pods. The humans, the baboons, the monkeys, and some of these birds. They are greenish and tend to be brownish when they are ready to be eaten. So with baboons and monkeys, because they know that they will be competing with other animals, they don't wait for them to get ready. They'll go while they're still greenish. For medicinal purposes, the locals will dig up the roots, boil them, and suck the juice to treat constipation. And that was our monkey pod. And over here, I've got evidence of some zebras. There's lots of signs that will indicate the presence of animals. It's either tracks, or there will be aerial signs, the arboreal signs, and the terrestrial signs. So this is one of the terrestrial signs from the zebra. It's a zebra dropping. Zebra is one of the hindgut fermenters. They've got only one stomach, so the droppings will come out not fully digested. Unlike the ruminants, there's lots of fiber on them. So as you can see here, it's full of sand. There will be other animal species that will wait for other species to drop their dung on the ground, and they'll go to survive, or they'll dig the hole, and start feeding on the dung. As you can see here, and those will be termites. While we're still on this here, I've got evidence of some termites here as well, which are on this branch. They will cover the branch and start feeding on it, and they'll use the sand to cover themselves because they don't want to be exposed on the sun, and also that will be defense against their predators. We will continue searching for some more stuff while Papi, are there any plants that will help with burns? Yes. I know there's one which is a mother-in-law's tongue. If you get a burn in a particular area, what you will do, you will make fire, take the mother-in-law's tongue, put it, you take out the skin, the outside skin, you put it on top of the fire, and put the mother-in-law's tongue around the burnt side, and cover it either with a rope, which you will be peeling it off from one of the trees, either from the acacia or from the silver cluster leaf. I've got another animal here. Oh, two. One of the beetles. I don't know the species, but I know this is a beetle.
Ooh.
I think this is a mating pair.
Hold it still.
Over here. So they use the Watharia. Oh, there's another insect here. Okay, so lots of animals will I know the praying mantids like to sit on this one. The crab spider will also come and hide on these earth areas. So I've never seen this type of beetles, but I will double check with James, who's far experienced than Heavy. I think when you come back to me, I'll give you the right answer. While doing that, I will send you to Scott, who is flying his drone.
Yes, we are still flying a drone since you last with us. It's been cruising about. We got up and above some impalas for a couple of minutes. They were relaxed with the drone very low down above them, at kind of about 5 meters they started looking up at it. So that was interesting to see how relaxed the impala were. Just mentioning to Seb what fun it would be if we were in an area where we could follow wild dogs more closely, because this is the perfect tool to be able to follow wild dogs hunting. Far quicker than us in terms of maneuverability through the bush. So that's something to look forward to one day, possibly. It could happen here, of course. It's just the wild dogs don't come through very often. Very good. Well, you'll be glad to know that Ralph has managed to find animal. So enjoy.
Thanks, Scott, and everybody. We've just been watching a banded mongoose mommy with her little pups. Unfortunately, they've just disappeared back into the termite mound, but with her being there, there's every opportunity they're going to come back and just poke their heads out again. It was lovely seeing them. And there comes one. Just see a little bit of movement there. They are a little bit wary, and so they should be. There we go. So remember, generally with banded mongoose, they do have between 1 and 6 pups. We do call them pups, but on average about 4. And they gain independence nutritionally around, I think it's about 3 months. So that's when they'll stop suckling from their mum, but they also do get left very often with escorts or babysitters, and they do form quite a relationship with one in particular. So whether this is mommy or an escort or babysitter remains to be seen, but I think
sorry, I don't know what's going on with these gremlins today, but we have more elephants for you. Our bulls have left the dam. They've stopped their swim. It was absolutely magical. And around the corner here, we're gonna have a few more ellies. And then later this afternoon, maybe in the next 20 minutes, I have a surprise. Oh, and I wanted to give you an update because this isn't the surprise, but Tingana is still under this exact same bush that we had him in this morning. He has not moved hide nor hair. So because he's in the exact same spot that we had him this morning, I'm not going to go to him now. I think I'm going to go to him later, hopefully when he's moving. And then hopefully the surprise will also pan out. But while we're busy waiting for our surprise, elephants are always good. These are 2 much younger bulls, so I'm assuming that a breeding herd is somewhere around here. I can't hear quite yet, nor see them. These guys look, the one at the back especially looks a little bit young to be on his own. It's possible that maybe they, because the one that's in front is a little bit older, could possibly be away from the herd now, that the little one just got attached to it, or, well, all right then, could you all hear that? I think maybe he's annoyed that he's being trailed by this youngster. This would be similar to your mother telling you to watch your little brother who's 5 or 6 and you're a teenager and you just want to go play with your friends. and you've got to carry them around. My mom used to do that to me. I've got a brother that's 5 years younger than me, and when we were kids playing in the yard, we had to take him around. He would hold on to your one finger. Sarah, interesting question. I'm just going to come around the corner here. Sarah, you'd like to know if the babies would ever take the youngsters for swimming lessons. I haven't seen them take the youngsters for swimming lessons. Oh, they've moved off. Sorry, guys. But what I have seen is I've seen the youngsters trying to mom not being ready yet, and then older siblings and cousins coming and taking the little one and walking up and down the road with it. That I've seen. Sun is warm. It's in my eye. I'm really curious where the rest of this breeding herd is. Just checking around the sides here as we meander towards our surprise. Slowly, slowly meander towards our surprise. And just triple checking for anything that might be around. There was an update of wild dogs not far from here this morning, and I'm hoping that we manage to get them. There's part of the breeding herd. It is not the best shot. Unfortunately, there's a lot of trees in the way, but there we go. So they're deeper into the bushes there. And one of the reasons why we're probably not hearing them is they're probably eating some of what's left of the grass, although I'm surprised that they're eating as much grass as they are because it's getting very dry here. You can see that. So I would actually choose leaves and branches. I'm going to try to go a little bit farther forward. We might get a better view of some of the other members. Just going to pull this little spider web off. There we go. We seem to be collecting spider webs as we drive through very open areas, so I think that we have a family of spiders that's living somewhere on the vehicle and being very cheeky and giving us little surprises on the lens. Alright, now I believe it was Herbie who has something to show us, so let's head on over to him and I'll see if we can get a better view of this breeding herd in the meantime.
We have came across one of the most common trees or plants, the devil thorn. It's called the devil thorn because of the two thorns on its seeds. This is one of the favorite plants for the locals, especially the Shangans. They've been using these for years as a soap. How they do it, they will collect the leaves in a container, add some water for a day or two, and when they are about to wash their cloth, they will use the mixture to wash their cloth with. Or they can use the very same mixture as a shampoo substitute to clean their hair and to clean their hair. How they do it, they will just put it around the head and add some water. It works perfect. Trust me, if you collect this devil thorn to the locals and give it to the 70-year-old, he will or she will prefer to use this than the normal soap that we buy in the shops because they've been using these for ages. And over here is the flower. When you walk in the bush, anything colorful is an indication of being poisonous. You need to stay away from it until you rub it against your skin. Over here, any negative response will indicate poison. Stay away from it. The seeds have got a very special way of moving from one area to another, or a special way of planting themselves under the ground. With the thorns, they will get stuck on the animal's hoof as they walk. Because it's so itchy, they carry poison. Once they start scratching themselves, it becomes loose and drops on the ground. And as they walk, they will cover it with sand, and when the first rain comes, they will start to germinate as well. And I think one of the animals, which I believe is a zebra, walked past here. Here is the evidence, the fur. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but yeah, I think this is from a wildebeest. And over here is also evidence of wildebeest droppings. As I've said with the zebra, the sand is from the termites or the dung beetles. They will feed on the dung and also bury themselves underneath the dung. With dung, it's one of the evidence to guarantee that whatever animal you'll be looking for is there. So are the tracks. We'll just move around the quarantine. I know there's lots of interesting stuff around this. While we're doing that, we're gonna send you back to your lovely elephants.
Thanks, Herb. That zebra mane, or that zebra hair, I should say, sounded super interesting. I hope everyone enjoyed that. We found some of the breeding herd lurking in the back here, very quietly moving through, and of course, as we were talking about earlier, eating grass. And again, still trying to figure out, there must be at least some nutrients that are left in the roots of this grass, because to me it looks not tasty at all. We really, really, really need rain. See that? Especially on days like today where there was a nice little bit of cloud cover, and then all of a sudden the clouds move and then that sun comes out and it bakes everything very hard and very dry. It's very difficult for the grass to succeed that way when there's not enough water underneath. And this is similar to what happened the other year when we had that drought that didn't affect the leaves, but it affected the grass. So the elephants will be fine if we have a similar drought to that, because they can eat bark, and they can eat tubers, and they can eat roots, and they can also eat leaves. Something like those warthogs we saw earlier in the show will have a very hard time, and buffalo will have a hard time. The zebra will also have a hard time, unfortunately. But I'm still hopeful. It is only the end of January. Maybe February will just be filled with lots and lots and lots of rain. Alright, now Jamie's up in the Mara, and she has a beautiful elephant who's eating luscious green grass. So let's head on up to her so that you all can see the difference between the two ecosystems, one that has big rains and little rains, and us that has no rain currently.
I have a beautiful Ellie in beautiful green grass indeed. And while our afternoon been successful in terms of searching for lions, we have managed to spend plenty of time with elephants, and I for one am not going to complain. And I thought I might just let you have a few seconds of just enjoying the scene in peace, because I think you should be able to hear him tearing the grass up as well. Frogs bubbling in the background, cassinas, bubbling cassinas. There's the striped swallows, which I'm not sure you can hear, but sound a little bit like R2-D2. And in this golden light, it could not be more beautiful. Lovely. And it's not often still enough at this time in the afternoon for us to actually be able to share these sorts of sounds with you. The what's the word I'm looking for? Soundtrack, there we go, not backtrack, soundtrack of the background noises of the Mara. And somebody said grass, but I completely missed who it was because I was busy trying to figure out what the word is for the accompanying sounds that one hears. Oh God. He is loving grass though, and you have to admit, when you compare it to the grass behind him, you have to say it looks more appetizing. Now Bobby, you say it looks like he's twisting the grass to get it out. That's pretty standard in the way that they pull up grass, particularly where it is well rooted. Oh, a gentle sound of a diesel engine to complete our soundtrack. So, I mean, it's the quickest way for him to break the grass. I mean, to pull straight up. Grass is surprisingly strong. I don't know if you've ever tried, I'm sure you have, pulling out clumps of grass. And it's actually pretty difficult. A little bit of a twist helps things along. Oh, interesting. Quite a dominant approach from that male elephant came in from behind. No really overt signs of aggression or anything like that. Just a little bit of intimidation when it comes to size. He's probably just a little bit older, not much. And of course he had the advantage of higher ground as well, which made his approach look more impressive. Elephants aren't terribly good at walking slowly against gravity. Now, Betty, you want to know why some elephants have whiter tusks than others. Betty, it all has to do with the type of toothpaste, and if I had to tell you which toothpaste it was, I'd be in trouble for advertising. No, I'm joking. It just depends what the elephant's been doing on that particular day. So if they are... How are you? If they are... Have they been... Thank you. If they have been digging in the mud or something similar, then they will have muddier tusks. They might have been feeding off fresh, clean grass, which has washed all of the mud and wiped all of the mud away. They might have given them a wipe with their trunk. It's obviously got nothing to do with any kind of toothpaste, natural or otherwise. And there are certain ways of creating toothpaste out here. But far be it for me to even attempt to try and match Herbie's knowledge of the natural plants. Now, enjoying some really large animals in the afternoon light. Let's go across to Rolf, who has large animals, but not quite as large as these guys.
And very large they are indeed. A couple of very big buffalo bulls on their own. And look at that, one of the little oxpeckers having a dust bath just in front here. There we go. See that? Nice close-up of him, and he's calling the whole time. There he goes with his dust bathing. All about feather maintenance, that is. Also a little bit about the skin. It must be quite difficult for them to relieve themselves of an itch. So I think dust bathing is one of the ways that they use to help them sort of feel good on their skin, because with those feathers, you want to give yourself a scratch. But listen, he's still calling. I think he's calling for his friends, because he's all on his own. They're normally in quite large groups, but nice to be so close to buffalo. And don't get to see too many on Djuma, so it's nice that we have a lot of them here in the Mara Triangle. And there's a lot of Daga bulls or boys like this that are on their own, past their prime, being left behind by the herd, form these small little groups just to give them at least a few more eyes and ears. And it's like an old man's club. Now, Monique in London, you've asked if buffalo here in Kenya, when they pass their prime, are also called Daga boys. Monique, I think it might have been passed on from South Africa, but as far as I know, it is a Zulu or Xhosa word, which is of South African origin. They potentially have another name for it here. And Monique, I'm going to find out from the local Maasai people if they've got a special word for these Daga boys that we call here. And we've got a ranger on board. Let me just ask him. Do you know what they call the males, the buffalo, that old males like the in Swahili? Nyati. Yeah, but Nyati is not the old one like this. The old one like this, you don't have a special name.
It is also called nyati.
Okay, so he's saying, I don't know if he knows what I mean, but he's saying that they're called nyati, but that is literally buffalo. So I'm going to delve a little bit deeper and chat with him, Monique, and see if we can get an answer out them. So everybody, it's been an absolutely wonderful afternoon, sunset safari here in the Masai Triangle. We've seen all sorts of things, and thank you for joining us. It's about time for us to start heading up the escarpment and heading back towards camp, but we'll see you all again tomorrow for the sunrise safari once more. But we are going to be carrying on, well, you at least. I'm going to send you all the way back on down south to South Africa, where the sunset safari continues.
In the world, it's all about competition. Not just Ralph, not Noel, finding Ellis. Hebi does trekking as well. It's so difficult sometimes to look for an elephant. You might think, looking at the size of the elephant, it's so easy to find the Ellis. Trust me, it's very difficult. It's like looking for the needle in the middle of the bush. But over there, there's some elephants. Quite difficult to see. I think we're about 100 meters away from them. You'll just see the movement. They are under the marula tree. I've seen them going at the base of the tree, collecting some marula fruits. Not a good view though. We'll try and approach slowly to get to the angle where we will get a good view of the elephants. I know it's too thick, but the wind is in our favor. We'll use that as an advantage, but still looking for the vantage point where we'll be trying to view them from for our own safety. They are at the base of the marula tree, picking up some berries. I've heard that when they eat these berries, elephants sometimes get drunk. Trust me, I've seen it many times. They don't get drunk simply because the temperature inside the elephant's stomach is too high. It won't allow the berries to ferment. It's just a myth. We'll approach slowly. I know this, I've seen some going into the drainage. While still busy following these Ellis, I'll send you back to Noel.
Here's your surprise. It's Mistress Thandi, and she's popped up here by Twin Dams. She went across Gowrie Main towards Chitwa Dam, and then through Little Gowrie, and then to Baboon Pan, and then up to us at Twin Dams. Now, where she's moving is going to be tricky for me to follow her through there. I want to quickly get up and around so we don't lose her. She's lactating quite heavily, so I do think that she's hunting a little bit, but sorry for the back of my head, everybody, but I also think that she might take us to where the cub is. This is going to be very bumpy, very tricky. Stand by one. There we go. Thank you for holding on, everybody. Now, there's a funny little spot that she can go through here, and I don't want to lose her too much, so I'm going to do a little bit of interesting driving, which means that Dobby's going to have to swivel around quite a bit. All right, everyone, here we go. I know how much you all love going through the bush. Let's go this way. Okay, so if you all can help keep your eyes open for me, and your eyes are obviously through Dobby's lens. So let's see if we can get her back again. She should be coming out just around here. So again, excuse the back of my head, but I don't want to miss her. And I also don't want to poke myself in the eye with a tree branch. Now, if I had to pick, I would actually have gone back in there, but it's a little bit too thick. So I'm having, Davi's doing an amazing job. He's sort of half standing, half crouching, checking everything. I'm trying not to push him off the back. I hear that you guys are all super excited. I'm also super excited. And I can hear some squirrels going. Now the other difficult thing that Davi and I are having to do right now with all of you as our extra eyes is drive into the sun, which makes lots of squinting happen, forms wrinkles, but I will take wrinkles on my face any day when they are a product of a beautiful cat like Tandy. Okay. So she should be just here. There she is. I've got her. She's right there. There she is. We've got her. All right, I'm just going to come back. So we were right with our direction. We were right with our assumptions. And now we'll be traveling with her, not into the sun, thank goodness. So sorry, little tree. See, they bounce back up. We're not too bad. And we're going to come around. She's going to be over on this side now, on our right-hand side, our 3 o'clock. Remember, the front of the car is always 12. Yukon, you'd like to know if female leopard territories overlap. There she is. She's just poking her little head. There, she's just changed direction slightly. I'm gonna just come back a little bit and back a little bit more. She's changing direction again. Yukon, they do sometimes, in this particular scenario between Tandy and Shadow, because Karula passed away, they definitely do. And here she comes, everybody. She's gonna come nicely past these bushes and out into the open. I'm gonna duck my head down. But unrelated females will not have overlapping territories, and honestly, I don't think Tandy and Shadow are happy to have any overlap in their territory at the moment. I think they both have youngsters, and I think it's a concern. There's our little Shadow first. Not Shadow the leopard, the Shadow of Tandy. There she comes. Hello, my girl. There you go, everybody. Oh, thank you, madam. And the tree squirrels going in the background, the only tree squirrels I've trusted all day long. Now, Madam Tandy, if you wouldn't mind taking us to your cute little cub, who I have not seen in a very long time. And for us right now, that's probably a week. And for any of our new viewers who maybe haven't seen her, what an amazing experience that will be. So we're going to stick with her as best we can. Excuse me, and I'm going to send you back to Herbie, who has elephants on foot.
We do, of course, have our elephants. We had a good visual, but unfortunately, they've decided to hide. We still have a visual of one elephant that is approaching the drainage line to the west of quarantine. The elephants are breaking branches, feeding on them, going for grass, digging for bulbs. And when you come across elephants, you might think that they are destroying. Everyone accuses them of being destructive. Yes, they are destructive sometimes, but not always. Over here is evidence that elephants were in this leadwood before. This is not fresh, it's old, but the branch has been broken by an elephant. For them to break branches, it's not a form of destructing or destroying. They help other species that cannot reach the top part of these trees, especially the browsers. It gives them a good advantage for them to pick up all the bits and pieces that have been left by the elephants. So in this case, they will also create the seed banks for birds and also shelter for some of these smaller animals. And while we're still here, over there, that's evidence that the elephants were here as well in this big marula tree. They've taken off the bark, but luckily, marula trees is one of the trees that will recover very quickly. It might take some time, but at the end, it will end up covering the whole damage. As you can see here, the whole part was taken away. As you can see here, it's dry already, but the tree has managed to cover itself again, which is good. So locals, if they get a cut, they'll come and peel off the bark and boil and cover the wound with the cambium layer, which is the inside part of the tree. And they believe by so doing, the wound will recover very quickly. And over here, as I said, when elephants destroy, they create home for many. This is an Uthika. I think it's still active. It's a home for something. I can't tell which species, but I can see some spider webs here. To me, it looks active. There's no opening, and that tells me that it's still active. There might still be something inside. I'm not going to open it because I don't want to destroy. We need more creatures around. So we'll just move around and look for something else. While doing that, I'm going to send you back to Noel.
Alrighty, here we are. I'm just going to come around on her side here. Hopefully get our shadow out of the way and give you all a little view without me bouncing you around. And hopefully a view of her face. She's hunting, she's looking for stuff. Mice, squirrels, birds, maybe trying to flush a diker or a steenbok. Davi, is that okay for you? I don't know if she's going to walk behind me from here or walk around the other side, so we'll just sit and wait. Oh, Melinda, good question. Melinda, you're asking how many babies Tandy's had in total. Melinda, I don't know the complete answer to that question. I do know Kuchava and Tamba are some of her young, and then obviously we've got the little one now. But previous litters from that, I do know that she hasn't been as successful as her mom, Karula, but I don't know how many more successful ones. James Richard, I believe you also told me there was 2 others, a male that went into the Manuletti or Kruger, and then a female that was killed by Tingana. So that would be 4 that I know of, plus the 5th would be now. He sent me a message the other day. But if there's anyone watching who knows that answer, if you guys wouldn't mind putting up those wonderful answers that you give, those little gifts as well. I know many of you have photos of past litters. She's gonna come just behind. Let's just move a little bit here so that you can see her a little bit better. There we go. Hello, my girl. There's nice space for you there in front. There we are. And there she goes. Now, we've got an interesting scenario where she's moving to. If she keeps going the way that she's going, there's this really hectic drainage line. So Scott and I were just chatting, and what we're going to do is we're going to stay. We're not going to be able to get through. Scott's going to wait on the other side of the drainage line in case she crosses so that we don't lose visual of her. And we will see what happens from there. So Scott's on the other side. Let's head on over to him and see what's potting over there.
Well, not too much is potting here just yet, but we did know that this area that Tandy was moving through is a very tricky area for Noel to follow her with ease, especially in and around this riverbed. I'm just trying to listen to pinpoint exactly where Noel is. It seems like she's a little bit further behind us at the moment. So let's see if we can't just sneak a little bit further forward here. Interesting stuff. I wonder how far Thandi moved today. It sounds like quite a long distance, and let's hope that she doesn't continue to spend too much time off our property. It is a reality though, sadly, I feel. Scarlett, you'd like to know how far would she move from her cub when hunting? 2-3 miles easily, I would say. You know, the kind of extremities of her own territory she'll be happy to traverse, and more important than distance away from her cub, I think time away from her cub is kind of more relevant. No, we're in the wrong spot. I can hear Noel bushwhacking up ahead of us here, so let's head on there a little bit. So yeah, I don't think the distance, like I said, is a concern, but more importantly time spent away from the cub. Alrighty. Now I'm not sure if we can hear Noel trying to work her way through an area that she couldn't get through, so she may have also looped around a little bit ahead of where Tandy actually crossed. This is such a beautiful tamburti tree that I'm hoping to see a leopard in one day. But maybe it's not going to be today, maybe it is. Bobby, you'd like to know if I've ever seen a leopard jump into the air to catch a bird. And no, I personally haven't seen it in the flesh, but it certainly does happen. There's no two ways about that. I saw a really cool video. There were some people on safari and they were just taking a kind of regular video, just driving down the road, and they were actually not chasing, but there was some guinea fowl running down the road in front of their vehicle, and that's what they were filming. And all of a sudden a leopard came shooting out from the side of the road and caught the guinea fowl out of mid-air, and obviously gave everyone the fright of their lives. So it definitely does happen. Okay, so the vehicle I heard bundu bashing was another vehicle that was joining this sighting, and not actually Noel. So let's go back a little bit. Oh, I think they've actually got a visual over there, so that's good news. I think that vehicle has spotted her, so we'll just wait where we are, and hopefully either Noel or I will be able to get you some more views of Tandy. In the meantime, I'm going to send you off to her.
Of course, we are to the edge of quarantine, western side of quarantine, not far from the lodge. We came across one of the trees which looks like one of the parasites. I'm not sure if there will be anyone watching me who can try and tell what does the leaf look like as far as parasites are concerned. And here there's evidence that elephants were digging for some roots. I know elephants like this type of tree. Most of these trees, wherever you go, you'll find these trees in this height. They'll just dig the roots around, eat them, and also go for the top branches of the tree. They don't really kill the tree. It still survives, but in this height, always. So over there, I can see one of the combretums. There I said bush willow. I know it's a combretum because of the seed pods. Here are the seeds. A combretum has got a seed pod with 4 wings opposing one another. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So confirmed, this is a combretum. So combretum dominates in some sections at Djuma. So the catinas, the sole catina of Djuma consists of the combretum vegetation, the acacia, and the marula section. So from the top part or at the crest, you find the marula trees. Moving down toward the drainage, you find the combretums. Very close to the drainage, you find the silver cluster leaf. And on the drainage, just before the drainage, you get the magic guaris. And inside the drainage, you find, or inside the rivers, you find the big trees like leadwood, the fig trees, and also the jackalberry trees. Combretum, the locals will use combretum for building. They'll go for the wood to build the house and also use the very same wood to make fire. So outside the conservation area, you'll find the locals moving around looking for the combretums, just for the very same use. We'll just scratch around to see if we can pick up something. Kes, I didn't copy the question correctly. Will you mind to come with the question again?
That's an answer for your question.
P Heart is wondering if on the leaf is not a bee larvae. No, I'll give away the answer. This is from, the shape looks like a tick. And of course, the tree is called the round leaf tick or the round leaf bloodwood. The name has changed from round leaf tick to round leaf bloodwood, which is over here. This is the second one, not the one that we saw earlier on. You see the very same thing here. It has been disturbed by the elephants on top and also on the ground. For some reasons, they don't really kill the tree. They'll just dig around the tree and also go for the top part of the tree. We'll just move around and see what else we can find around the edge of quarantine. While we're still checking around, we're gonna send you back to Noel with the lovely mother, Tandy.
She is a lovely mother, and she is searching from little broken down tree to little broken down tree in search of something to eat, I truly believe. If she was looking for the cub, she would be making more noises. Now she's starting to head to the drainage line that we were talking about. So hopefully Scott will be able to pick her up soon, because where she's moving I can't necessarily go to. I just need to turn around. Sorry everybody. We stuck ourselves in an interesting little spot. Now she's moved in just a little bit. So I'm wondering if Scott is able to see her on his camera yet, because where we're having to drive is a little bit hectic. Okay, so we're gonna keep an eye on her from here, and then hopefully soon, sorry everyone, just ducking for some branches. Okay, let's go over to Scott. I believe Scott's got that view from his side. Fantastic.
Well, no view just yet, but we can see Noelle, and she's looking just off to her right hand side, so I'm guessing Thandi is going to pop up somewhere between us, and it's just useful that we hang around you. We're kind of just like a backup plan, essentially, in case Thandi does cross onto the side of a small riverbed, which is quite tricky to cross in a vehicle. Not for Thandi, of course. She can go where she likes with ease. So we're just going to hang around here, and I think it's definitely worthwhile, because it would be terrible to lose Tandy, as she in all likelihood is heading slowly back towards her little cub. It'll be very useful for us to know where that cub has been stashed. It seems like it's a very new spot, possibly one that she hasn't used before. Having said that, though, it may actually not really prove too much use to us, because the cub is coming to an age that it's not going to be stuck in one spot for as long as it has been up till now. It's going to be start moving around a lot more from place to place, with kind of less need to be in a set kind of den area, although kind of Tandy has been doing that for a while now. Where is she? Sounds like she's definitely trying to get a snack on her way back to the den. An unsuccessful day out hunting, and who knows how long she has been out hunting for. We had her tracks that looked very fresh this morning, but how fresh exactly, it's hard to tell. So she may have had a long, hard day trying to find both her and her cub another meal. Oh, good. Well, Noelle's making gestures towards me as if she can see Tandy. So that's good news. We definitely won't be able to see it from here, but I'm guessing it's going to pop out just in front of her at any moment if it continues to move. But at least she has had one or two glimpses of it. It looks like she's just trying to reposition the vehicle, and she's pointing at me on the radio, reversing, so she's definitely capable of multitasking. I've just got a glimpse of Tandy. I mean, it's so thick, but she is going to pop out, Seb, in that little sandy patch right there. So if you just, if you just keep filming there, she will pop out there in a second or two. And there it is. And we're going to send you back to Noelle, who must be in a great spot.
Okay, hi everyone. So she's zigging and zagging, so it's actually really great where Scott is and where I am, because right now we've got a really good view of her, and then shortly if she goes across, Scott just needs to move to his left-hand side about 80 meters, and she's going to pop up that side. So we're going to try and keep her on camera from, oh sorry for my hat, for now, but Scotty D, if you move around just a little bit, you're going to grab her, and we will transfer over custody of our beautiful Thandi, who is hunting. So hopefully all of you viewers will get an amazing sighting, whether you're with me or with Scott. Michelle, good question. You want to know, how does she hide? Also inside of dead logs. And then Tandi's also choosing places where she's either denned before, or where she herself could have possibly had experiences with youngsters from either herself or from Karula. She is choosing, sorry about my arm there, she is choosing to be in those areas, and that's where she knows where they are. Sorry guys, I just want to chat with Scott quickly. Scott, Noelle, Scott. Scott, if you come back to where you saw me, if she crosses, I can't follow her here, if you want to try that spot. Alright, Scott's just going to position and see if he can get ahead of her a little bit so that we don't lose her. So Scott spent so much time this morning looking for her on foot, and she keeps moving the cub farther and farther afield to places that we don't know as well, but that she knows very well. So it's very important for us this afternoon to try and stick with her as long as we possibly can, so that we can figure out where that is, so that tomorrow morning we can do the same thing, and again and again and again, because she's starting to go away from her the core territory that she's been in for the past sort of 3 months, and verging on a little bit of the outside area. Now also where Scott is headed to now, if she has seen something in these bushes here, which it entirely looks like she has, and she's not fully stalking, he's hopefully going to be able to pick her up. This is a very, very thick area. It's a very tricky area. And if she flushes something from the inside here, and she flushes it north and east, we're not going to be able to follow her through. But hopefully that means that Scott will grab it from the other side. Yeah, I'm just going to move just a little bit. All right, let's go to Herbie so long while we figure out what's happening here. And when you get back, you most likely will be with Scott from where I can see where she's moving.
We are to the eastern side of the termite mound. I can confirm that because I've got evidence to help me orientate myself. In this area and over here, there's disturbance and some tracks over here, which I think is from a dwarf mongoose. I know it's a dwarf mongoose because of the tracks. So the toes is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the claws here. These are the claw marks. Dwarf mongoose lives in holes. A dwarf mongoose is one of the smallest carnivores that we get in this area. So these are the droppings. They eat berries, they eat insects. As you can see here, it's evidence that it has eaten one of the insects. And they use termite mounds as a retreat. As you can see here, there's a hole in a funny shape. This is where they live. They use termite mounds, and in the morning, to warm themselves, they'll go to the eastern side of the termite mound. As I've said, that is the only way for you to orientate yourself. As soon as you get to the termite mound, the more disturbed it is, that would be the eastern side of the termite mound. So looking at the shape of the hole, it tells me that there was one of the tortoise living in this particular hole, which is either a spix hinge tortoise or a leopard tortoise. The shape would, one of the tortoises uses the hole, it leaves the hole in the shape of that particular tortoise. So the tracks look very fresh to me, and there's lots of disturbance. I hear them calling not far from where we are, but unfortunately they've ran away. We'll try and see if we can still get their view. Sina, how big are the paws of a dwarf mongoose? They are very tiny. I'm gonna try and draw them on the ground. Maybe they are this big. They're so tiny. It's quite difficult to count the toes because of their size. Very, very tiny. We just check around. If we get the view, I'll try and point them out for you. While doing that, we will send you to Scott, who is trying to track and relocate Tandy.
Yes, we've got lucky. We have managed to relocate on Thandi, and she has crossed over onto the side of this little riverbed that we were waiting on. She just heard something rustling in the bushes and then kind of ran after it. We're not too sure what it was. It could have been a scrub hare or something like that. And let me just reposition quickly again. Excuse the drone blocking your view, but fear not, we should be able to get into some great spots here. I'm thinking of even maybe trying to turn the vehicle around completely so that we're ready to kind of reverse up this road that she could well head along. Turn around here quickly. Afternoon orbs. Tandy is on Mamba Loop, heading east and north. Have I put you in a terrible spot here again? I think I have. Mamba Loop, the new road off Mamba. Yeah, make your way, Orbs. Sorry everyone, just trying to get Aubrey, who's heading out on a late evening drive. Obviously his guests are a little bit delayed. I wanted to give him this information as soon as possible so that he can try and race to this beautiful scene. Now, I'm hoping that she's going to kind of keep tending to the north away from this drainage, but there's something in there that's caught her attention and I'm not entirely sure what it was. Maybe it's the same animal that was rustling in a small bush that ran off that initially caught her attention. Good. Okay, good stuff. Well, while we get you guys into another good spot to enjoy some more views of Thandi, hopefully, we are going to send you back up to the Masai Mara where the... No, that can't be possible. What did I just hear?
No,
about
sunset.
Okay, no, well, with the sunset.
I'm here in the Mara all of a sudden with a beautiful sunset. No, I'm joking. I'm still here on Djuma and this is gorgeous, so I think let's do our moment of silence. Oh, sorry, as I want to do that, a car is coming past. Sorry, everyone, stand by. We'll just have a little chat about this beautiful scenery while the car comes past, and then we can have our moment of silence. So we're going to get some really interesting colors. It's a little bit bright right now, but the brightness is actually lending to a gorgeous sort of darkness around the clouds, and then we've picked this tree out quite nicely for you all to see. Davi likes a nice dead tree to film through, and he's completely correct in what he likes to do because it adds a bit of ambiance that is very special to a moment of silence like we're about to have just now. So here we go. We can listen to the wind through the trees and whatever birds happen to be around and contemplate what a beautiful day we've had thus far. Absolutely stunning. So it wasn't filled with many bird chirps, but it's nice to just take a beat and enjoy it. And it also gives Scott a good chance to get around in that hectic little area and try and see if he can get another visual of Tandy. Now, because the cloud cover's here, we're going to start getting these nice colors within the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, I would say. So Davi and I are going to park off here and enjoy it. And hopefully when those colors start coming through, we'll also be able to share them with you. Alright, now everyone, don't forget, we are live and interactive, so you can send through those questions and those comments, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on a YouTube chat. We love to hear from you. wherever you might be and whatever you might be up to and whatever you might be thinking about during this beautiful moment. Could we hear that black-bellied bustard in the background? If we manage to get back to Herbie, you guys must ask him to do his black-bellied bustard. It's this funny little whoop pop noise, and it makes me laugh every single time. Every time. Alright, so let's go on over to our friend Herbie. Hope you enjoyed our little bit of silent moments mixed in with a little bit of commentary, and we will see you all shortly.
Of course, yes. That's my favorite bird. And everyone knows. I try, but I'm not perfect. That's a black-bellied bustard. And over here, on top of the marula tree, is a mistletoe. Some will call it a flower, but I call it a parasite. Mistletoe is one of the parasite trees that will attack most of the trees here. It's attached to the marula tree and gets its nutrients from the tree, and it does affect the tree. As you can see, part of the tree is dead already because of the infection from the mistletoe. So the locals believe that because of the way the mistletoe positions itself on top of the marula tree, they can use the mistletoe as a lucky charmer for anyone who wants to be promoted in his duty. So they'll climb up, cut a branch, grind it, either you steam yourself with, or you add with some medicine, which I don't know, and they believe it works perfect. Believe me, going outside the conservation area, because they are not so protected, people will hunt them on a daily basis, and in that case, I'll say they are endangered because of the medicinal purposes. So, while we still with this mistletoe, the fruits from the mistletoe are greenish, and they tend to be reddish when they are ready. You can use the seeds as a glue. You peel off the bark, chew them for quite some time, 20-30 minutes, and glue them together. You can use that to fix your shoe, to fix your books. I used to do that while I was still at school. Trust me, it works perfect. I've done it many times. Bunny, does a mistletoe attack any of the trees, or does it have any specific trees in which it attacks? I've seen it in many different trees. It does affect all the trees. I've seen them in different trees, not just in one specific tree. We are slowly losing the light. While waiting, will send you back to Scott with Mother Tandy.
Okay, yes, we are still with Thandi, and we're just going to wait here as she makes her way towards us. As Herbie says, the light is beginning to dim and fade, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, cool evening now. I'm sure Thandi's relieved after what seems like she's had a hot and unsuccessful day out hunting. She went through a stage where she was really doing incredibly well, making kill after kill after kill with great succession, but even the most skilled of hunters require a little bit of luck from time to time. Now I'm hoping that in the next few minutes she will lead us to her little cub. She's getting very close to where we last had tracks of the two of them this morning, so I'm guessing it's not too far from here that the cub's sitting and patiently waiting its mother's return. What's she sniffing there? I can't see, the bush is too thick. At one stage I thought maybe she was licking the cub, but not so lucky. Let me creep forward a little bit. Okay, very good. I'm actually going to do quite a big loop ahead. She's heading right to the road ahead of us, and I'm sure she's going to get onto it. Great views of her walking straight towards us. Alrighty. Hello Melinda, you would like to know how much food can a leopard carry? Well, for a female leopard like this, I guess how far would be my question to your question, Melinda. How far are you expecting the leopard to carry this food? If it's just up a tree, they can carry double their body weight. If it's over a long distance, then they can carry usually smaller kills. I mean, they usually don't have the necessity to move kills from place to place, unless, like this lady's been displaying, she did take 1 or 2 kills back to her den site where her cub was, which is kind of not normal behavior. I'm panicking now because I can't see her. Is she coming?
Yeah, she's at 1 o'clock.
Okay, cool. She will slowly be making her way towards us. Here she comes, and we're going to get some great views as she does that. And I'm hoping it's not going to be long after this that she does in fact find her little cublets. Debbie, you'd like to know if there's a best time of day for leopards to go hunting. Well, I guess under the cover of darkness probably increases their chances of catching their prey. But, rainy weather makes for great hunting conditions because it's difficult for their prey to hear their approach and also see their approach because of the haze of all the rain. You'll tend to find that they are most active in the early morning and late evening when it's cooler, but I don't think there's necessarily a best time. As I said earlier, a lot of their hunting success relies on a little bit of luck as to when there's an easy meal around. Wonderful stuff. Okay, well, we're going to have to reposition, and while we do that, we are going to send you to Herb, who's got comfortable on a log.
Of course, yes. We do have chairs in the house, but I prefer the bush chair, sitting on top of the dead marula tree, enjoying the caterpillar sighting. these are caterpillars on top of the on top of the monkey pod, destroying the monkey pod, eating all the leaves from the monkey pod for survival. They will move from one tree to another. I think this monkey pod, the leaves are half eaten. So as soon as they finish this one, they'll move to the next tree. I had a question from Scarlett. What is my favorite, the scariest moment that I had in the bush? Different, lots to tell, but I'll just tell one or two. In my previous lodge, where I used to work, I was asked to take one of the trainee trekkers and show him some tracks. As we were walking, not far from the lodge, we came across lion tracks chasing some buffaloes. And we walked not far from where we saw those tracks. We spotted those buffaloes. There were 4 males and 1 female standing. And I said to him, because obviously when we leave the lodge, I gave him instructions. But when we get to see those buffaloes, I gave him instructions again not to run. But guess what happened? As he turned his head, he saw one of the big bulls. Eventually, he turned and started running. That buffalo never hesitated. He came straight. I had to wait there, hoping that the buffalo will stop, but he didn't stop. He was so close to me, like 6 meters away, and I was aiming into a fork of a magic guare bush. I had to jump in the middle of the fork, and the buffalo ran past, and as I lifted up my head, my dear friend was on his belly on the ground. He couldn't stand up. He was trapped, and luckily that buffalo didn't come back. He kept running. So we managed to survive. But when we got back to the lodge, my dear friend said, "This is my time to move." He took his bags away from the lodge, and since then, he resigned. He never came back and do trekking again. That was my most difficult part in the bush. So many stories happen, and another one, I was trekking a leopard, which is my favorite animal to trek. It was dark around this time, and I lost the tracks. As I was checking around, I saw a big bull, elephant, about 6 meters away from me. He started coming. I stopped. I had the radio with me. I lifted up my head, and my radio shouting at him, "Hey, hey!" He stopped. He did this as usual, and suddenly, instead of me reversing back, I started moving forward for him. He turned and started running. Then, instead of following him, I turned into the drainage and started running away from him. Guess what happened? He started chasing me for about 30 minutes behind me. That was a long run. Trust me, it was dark already, but luckily one of the guys managed to come and pick me up, and I survived. Because of my passion, I never stopped trekking. I'm still enjoying my trekking skills. While still enjoying my bumble, we're gonna send you back to Noel.
Hello, I'm back. We did a little time-lapse photography on that sunset. The colors didn't pop as much as we wanted them to. That cloud actually came up, you'll see it now. That cloud came up just a little bit too thick. but it was still quite pretty. And we've got just a little bit of orange, sherbet orange, poking through the top, and I do hope that this cloud cover means that it's bringing a bit of rain. We desperately need some rain. And I'm excited that Scott's managed to stick with Tandy in that difficult area. That's very good. And it's so nice to have Herbie out and about with us as well, presenting. I hope you've been enjoying his stories. Herbie teaches me something new every single day we go on walk. Or performs surgery on Davi. Dr. Herbie. Now, with Thandi having come, she basically walked where Scott was tracking her on foot this morning. Then she walked over to Cheetah Cut Line. She crossed over into Chitwa. That was the leopard that we were tracking earlier before we got our swimming elephants. And then went through into Little Gowrie, popped up at Baboon Pan, as we said, and then came up. We still haven't figured out where Hassana went after going to Chitwa Lodge this morning. Tingana has gone off a little ways. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to look for him in the morning. And then Shadow popped up after game drive, and Davi and I this morning. And Davi and I went to go and have a look for her. We found her tracks, but we never found her. So I'm hoping that she pops up and maybe stays for a little bit there by Shabamu, by the Pans, by Treehouse Dam. We didn't get any sign of her youngster, but maybe tomorrow morning. You never know. Had lots going on today, and lots going on in the Mara. It's been a really, really great day. Okay, now as I'm busy looking around, Scott still has Thandi, and I know you're probably all chomping at the bit to see her, so I'm going to send you back so that you can get some nice views of that gorgeous female as she meanders about looking for something to eat.
Well, I'm not sure if we can be able to get the best views. It's very thick here, and I know for a fact that this cub is somewhere nearby because we tracked her and the cub close to the spot this morning, but she's just changed direction now. Seems like she's just to the left of that the white trunk of that tree there, so, but I doubt we're going to be able to get... Oh, you can see a little bit of movement there. And there goes her little tail. Huh. Let's see if we can... Ooh. Yeah, this is not looking promising. There's a kind of impenetrably thick knobthorn grove here. So, can we do a little bit of a loop around? Possibly. Let me just try and turn the vehicle around first. Or can we squeeze through there? Maybe we can squeeze through here. We may just be able to squeeze through without any issues. And while we try and negotiate this thick area, we're going to send you back to Noel, who's found some elephants.
Guys, we have come across the strangest thing. I actually think this baby is blind. Do you see the color of the eyes there? I'm having the hardest time figuring out. It does have pupils, but it's very... Oh, and there's a... Sorry. And there's a teeny brand new baby with that female there. I can't decide. Sorry, that too many things just happened at once. This other little one, that one's moved off. Let's go back to this other one. I have never, in 11 years of guiding, ever seen anything like that. And it's not an albino. I've seen albino elephants. This isn't an albino elephant. Its tail is very stiff all the time, but notice the hair on the end of the tail. The hair on the end of the tail is also white. Yeah, exactly, Curse. Also white eyelashes. Now, this being said out loud now, as we're talking about it, I've once seen a baby that was born pink, and then developed coloration. Now, with the color of these eyes and the color of the hair and the color of the tail, I mean the eyelashes and the color of the tail, I'm wondering if it's maybe can see, but it's got... was possibly albino and then got a little bit of pigment, or maybe some type of alopecia. I mean, alopecia would mean no hair. It's the strangest thing. Let me just see if I can get another view If any of you got a screenshot of that elephant, please will you send it to me? I've got a friend, as many of you know, who's doing elephant research on stress hormones, but she's also just a good touchstone for things, and I want to send those to her. I want to see what she says. It's not very often that I come across, or many of us come across, something that we really truly have never ever seen of, and I've never even heard of anything like this. I'm completely enthralled. Yeah, it's interesting. Look, their sense of smell and their hearing is really good. So I don't think we would necessarily know whether or not it was really blind, because they can move around without using their eyesight. Their eyes are also on the side of their head. They do a lot of movement with their trunk. Really pink underneath as well. It also could have possibly been, it's going to come out, I think, again, if we just are patient. It could also possibly be something like a weird, I don't want to say hormone, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like if you have lupus, an autoimmune disease. Okay, it's going to come out here in front of us. Maybe it's possible. Look, it is a mammal, and it's a higher band mammal. It is possible. It's just there, just behind the tree a little bit. Yeah. Everyone, we're going to extend drive for a while. Scott's still looking for Tandy, and we have this crazy-eyed elephant here. And I would like to get a bit more footage of it and share it with all of you. I also wonder, maybe if it was, because you see the pupils there. So I don't know if this is true. I was watching a movie the other day. When people go blind, that their pupils get really large. And that, to me, is a not normal-sized pupil for an elephant. I feel like it's smaller than it should be, not larger. Look, everyone, I'm just spitting into the wind here with this because it's something I've never seen. I wonder if maybe it got spat in the eye. Oh no, look at the coloration under its leg. Look there, on the inside. You see that? It's an albino elephant. It's an albino elephant that's come up with a little bit more pigment as they've gotten older. You could see that pink there. It's an albino elephant. But proper albino. I've just never noticed them to have that funny eye thing before. And to be fair, now that I'm saying that out loud, 2 of those albino calves that I saw earlier in my career didn't survive to this age. I mean, this one is probably 3 years-ish. Very, very, very cool. Oh, and then the tiny little baby's coming out at the back. Sorry. It's albino baby elephant and then teeny tiny brand new elephant. Look, its ears are still stuck to its head. And it's still fuzzy. So have we ever seen an albino elephant on Safari Live before? Is this a new one, viewers? Curse is saying we once saw an Ellie with pink coloration, but not like this. This is very, very cool. I'm tickled pink, as it were. Sorry for the pun. Or hashtag maybe not sorry. This is very, very, very cool. I can't wait for your screenshots to send me. I've got a few people I want to send this out to. Look, you can see that pink really nicely there. Sorry, Kirsch, just send that through one more time. Katie was asking. Katie, I wonder if we would check this elephant because it's special. You know, Katie, we are in an ecosystem. Oh, protected. Excuse me, protected. Look, Katie, it is a special elephant, but it's not more special than any of the other elephants. It's just interesting special. And all elephants aren't more special than the leopard or the zebra or the wildebeest. It's an abnormal thing that's occurred. So no, it's not going to get special protection any more so than any other elephant would get. And also because we're open to the Kruger National Park and the Manuletti, I mean, this herd, I've never seen this baby before. This is a 3-year-old baby. So this is probably a herd that's come in from somewhere else. So there's no way necessarily for us to track it. And also at manhandling it to put a collar on it, and because it's still growing, would be too much stress for it. So this is going to be one of those scenarios where I GPS where I am. You guys send me through those screenshots I didn't get a chance to get a photo. I send them out to the people who need to have them, and then they catalog it from there, and then possibly other guides on other parts of the property in the Sabi Sands have maybe seen this herd before, or in Kruger or in Manuleti, and then we take it from there. It gets put into a database, and that's how we keep track of these things. So amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I think that's possibly the coolest thing I've ever seen. Ooh, Scott's got Tandy. Let's go over to him. Maybe we find something else amazing as well as we potter along.
Well, what next? An albino elephant. How bizarre. Well done, Noel. And we somehow managed to negotiate our way through a very thick tangle of knobthorn trees without getting too many punctures. And even though I'm very confident she's quite close to the cub, she's still quite insistent on trying to find a meal. And Seben, I think that she's investigating kind of small bushes for any sign of scrub hares, kind of a little takeaway on the way home. You can see she's moving very delicately, very quietly. And the last tracks that we had of both her and her cub were probably, I would say 50 meters from here this morning, so not far away at all. Now, of course, we have no idea where the last tracks actually were of them. Those were just the last tracks that we saw, but I'm confident that this cub is going to poke its head out at any stage. It will wait for a call though, so she'll, I'm almost certain, let out a call, and we should be able to either see or hear that, or hopefully both. And then we'll get to see her little bundle of joy come charging out of the bushes at her. Who knows how long it's been all alone. Let me reposition quickly. Now it looks like Thandi's heading down towards this little drainage. So, a little bit of luck, that's where the cub's going to be. This area's got quite a network of small little riverbeds, perfect places to stash a baby leopard. Just gonna stop here. She disappeared under that fallen down. Oh no, there she is in front of us again. Come on, call out your little cub. Not sure if I was imagining things, if I heard a call, or if I saw her mouth opening there. Let's look closely now. Let out one more call for us. It's tricky to see when she's facing that way, but we'll see her whiskers move. Yeah, this little cub's going to come running out at any second. I'm almost 99%. Oh, yeah, there we go. She's calling the little cub. How cool is this? She's definitely going to come running out. And hopefully she's going to jump onto that log. Now, one thing that I'm not 100% certain of, but that is a possible reality. Maybe she's heard the cub responding now, that's why she's not too concerned. You can see her calling again. And copy, thanks, Orbs. Aubrey just got a hold of me on the radio. I think he's got a view of the cub. And I'm surprised this little cub hasn't come charging straight to Mom For two reasons. It should be hungry and also a little bit lonely. Let me just reposition quickly because we're not in the best spot as and when the cub does decide to come into the scene. Okay, magic. Let's wake here. And like I said, I just can't believe that this cub hasn't come out yet. There she's calling again. Maybe the cub's been in a deep coma, snoozing all day. It's just going to be a matter of minutes before the cub comes out now. Unless, of course, something's happened to it, but I doubt it. I'm fairly confident Mom can hear the cub's responses, and the cub is just taking its time. The other day when we were sitting with Tandy, when she had... Oh, she's heard something. You can see her attention has changed greatly. Is this the cub? Oh, here it comes from the left.
Yeah.
Look at this. How awesome. Where have you been all day, Mom? And why can't I smell any blood on your mouth? And straight for the nipples for a bit of nursing and a bit of milk. How awesome is this, everyone? And very happy that Herbie's wonderful tracking skills led us to this very, very position this morning. We were walking along this very riverbed. Who knows, the cub was probably keeping a beady eye on us as we searched for them, but Mom had probably already moved off by the time we had got here. And what a special moment. Oh, it looks like the cub's managed to find what it's looking for now. Mom's going to do some grooming of the cub while the cub has a drink of tasty milk. I really would love to know how long Thandi's been away. Could be as much as 12 hours, I'm guessing, with ease. And who knows how long she's going to spend here before she heads out again in search of another meal. It may just be an hour or two, resting, relaxing, letting the cub nurse before she heads out under cover of darkness, in the hope that she will be able to get her and her cub their next meal. As you can see, the cub is clearly drinking milk, but it has got to the age of eating milk as well. First Lady, you've mentioned what an amazing scene to end the safari, and yes, I couldn't agree more. So we shall end the safari right here and right now because we've got a little bit to do on the way home, and we just wanted to make sure that we knew exactly where Mom was stashing the little cub for the time being, and we've established that, so that's great news. And of course we did get to see them reunite, which was absolutely beautiful. Well, thankfully it's not the end of the safaris. They will continue, and be sure to tune into the action tomorrow morning if you would like to see more scenes like this.